New season of Marvel Snap comes out, and the season pass card is really exciting. How it affects the meta, how it impacts deck building, very cool. But for me, it's all about the variants. I love variants so much. This eclectic, exciting, incredible art is what drew me to Marvel Snap in the first place and really helped me get hooked to be an obsessive all-time player. I play this all the time, and the variants are a big reason why. These are the 32 variants for July. They'll be releasing across the month, and no, these aren't the bundle variants. These aren't the ones Second Dinner expects you to spend out the pants for. These are the ones being added to your shop for 700 or 1200 gold, and I'm going to rank them and see which ones you guys are most excited about. Let me know in the comments which variant you want most in your shop ASAP. We got 2 new ultimates, as well as 2 ultimates from last month that should show up. So technically 34 variants, I believe. Second Dinner has confirmed this list. This is all beginning in July. I'm sad that Hipp Multiple Man did not make it for my Phoenix Force Multiple Man deck. Anyhow, let's get right into it with the Ultimates. We know Ultimate Electro and Ultimate Iron Man should be releasing this month. I made a video on why I think they were delayed. An Ultimate variant price drop. Check that out if you're interested in my theory and how it makes sense and what Second Dinner has been up to. But let's start it off with the Ultimate that everyone is going to be sad is an Ultimate, which is Ultimate Mystique. This is Artgerm Mystique. I know Artgerm has a lot of love, but I'm A-tiering it because I don't think it screams Ultimate. I think it screams nice variant, but I don't think it screams Ultimate in the same way that maybe the Adam Warlock Alex Horley variant does. I'll S-tier this bad boy because I do think the Infinity Gauntlet screams Ultimate, and I think that this card fits Ultimate better. We've got a lot of Ultimates that don't feel Ultimate. Cable, Arrow, and now Mystique, in my opinion. Especially because we do have an Elizabeth Torque Mystique that I think is really, really cool. Now, I'm a big colors guy. I think the colors here on this are fantastic. But knowing that this is a 1200 gold super rare instead of an ultimate just elevates it for me. I do think the Artgerm Green Jean Grey is hot. I do think it's really nice. You could put these right side by side if you want to. You might prefer Mystique. You might prefer Jean Grey. There's actually 2 Artgerm Jean Greys, but one of them is going to be in the Spotlight Cache. It's not showing up here because Spotlight Caches should be launching next week with the patch. We don't know for sure, and I'm not going to consider Spotlight variants because all the acquisition is more arbitrary and it's not something you can get in the shop. But we do have this nice Jean Grey Artgerm, and we have another Jean Grey as well. This is a Philip Tan Jean Grey. I think it's cool. I don't think it's as cool as the Artgerms or the Elizabeth Torque. I do love me some Hipp though, and we got Magneto Hipp, and we got Agatha Hipp, which are both super fun. Legion Hipp is a little weirder. I don't think Legion is going to be a popular card, so this could actually up the value of the variant as like a rare one not many people see or spend on. But Black Widow Hipp is clearly the weakest of the month. I'll never F-tier a Hipp, but I do think that this Black Widow it's like cutesy, it's okay. I don't know, is it C or is it D? We'll keep it at D and go from there. A lot of people have been fawning over the Ryan Gonzalez America Chavez, and I do think it's a good one, but I think it's lower A because there's a lot of already existing good Chavezes, whereas something like Red Skull, we got none, baby. Red Skull is going to be way up here for me because this Julio Red Skull, we have a chibi Red Skull, and that's it. Red Skull is a very popular, very oft-played card, and we have hardly any variants, so this rockets this right to the top of my want list in the shop. I need that Red Skull ASAP. There's a Venomized Red Skull, but honestly, I kind of don't like it. I'm kind of over the Venomized variants. Since I've seen Nullified and some of the others, I don't think that Venomized cards really pop off very well. I think they look flat. I think they look a bit basic and boring. In the same way that I think the Misty Knight Sports variant is boring as well. Like, is it D tier? I don't know. Maybe we should put Red Skull and Misty Knight both in D tier. I feel bad doing it, but the 4th of July Misty Knight is far superior, and this is just Misty Knight throwing a baseball. It's definitely a pass. I think the Wong Band variant is a pass as well. I don't love it. It's a pretty cool design, but I'd much prefer the Hipp Wong. I think Wong is going to get some play with Jean Grey, with Echo. I think that this is going to be an interesting card, and I do want to see maybe if I can fall in love with the band variant, but right now it's lower for me. There's 3 season pass variants that I will put on here. I think Colossus is okay. I think Magic is really, really good, and I think Phoenix Force is better than people are giving it credit for. This is a really nice animation, but at the same time, the Phoenix Force variants all look similar, given that it's a fiery bird that takes up most of the card. I do think it's nice, but you'll get it if you have the season pass, so I'm not going to give it too much weight. Just like I won't give the Mystique Pixel, which I think is terrible. I don't like the Mystique Pixel. I really don't think it's very good. Similarly, Mirage, the last card to drop this month, I don't think her Pixel is very good either. Pixels are typically poor, but thankfully we do have two really good Pixels this month, okay? The Jean Grey Pixel is actually A tier. It's very video gamey. It reminds me of something I'd play on the NES. I gotta give them credit. This one they did a nice job with. And Moon Knight as well. Like, Moon Knight to me is a B tier variant. Like, it's a really nice, involved, interesting pixel. It's not just, oh, the character's standing here straight up. That's what the Mystique is, and that's what so many are. Volmy Nova. Very kind of comparable to the Ultimate Nova. And there's a lot of good Novas, and I just don't really have a big affinity for this Nova. I think it's a more boring Nova. I like the color, but like I said, it's very comparable to the Ultimate. Maybe you upgrade it because it's a 1200 token super rare instead of or 1200 gold instead of a 500 token, but I'm going to C tier it. Legion has a band variant as well. I'll put it right next to Wong. I think the guitar is more interesting than the microphone. We got two 3099 variants. Black Bolt has a pretty sick 3099 variant that I really like. And then Omega Red has a decent one that I think is okay, but I do typically like the 3099 variants. I don't think that the Wong is a good 3099 if you've seen it, but I think these really are quite clutch. I have another Black Bolt that I prefer, but this Black Bolt is solid. Chibi Deathlock is interesting. Deathlock has some okay variants, people playing the Rooster. The Chibi is weird, but at the same time I find it very endearing, and I'm going to put it at the top of C tier here above the Horley Phoenix Force. Even though that Phoenix Force has a really nice animation, it looks so similar to the base Phoenix Force, and there's a Pixel Phoenix Force, which gives me Jean Grey Pixel vibes. It's not out this month, but I would put that in A tier as well. We got a lot in A tier here with the two Artgerms and with the nice Red Skull. Let's move to Mirage, another character being added. We talked about the Pixels sucking, but the Peach Momoko is very, very good. Peach Momoko Mirage looks really good, and then the Maria Wolf Mirage I think is similarly really nice. Maria Wolf is going to have a couple cards in the game thus far. There's going to be a Warpath, and I believe an Echo as well, although that one's not dropping this month. Maria Wolf, the very defined art style, very Native American, and I really appreciated accentuating those pieces of Mirage and of Warpath and of Echo. I like them a lot. Let's pause to talk about Mr. Sinister, which is a pretty sick variant. Like, I think this one is better than the Colossus. Maybe not as good as the Magic, but I think it's probably a B tier variant. I think it's actually like a really cool variant. But the problem is this is the Conquest reward for July, and people don't really play Mr. Sinister. Outside of like dedicated Patriot players, maybe Cerebro 2, not a lot of Sinister love in the meta, and so you get your 9 Conquest rewards and you unlock this cool variant for a card that you probably won't use. I find to be a bit of a letdown. Echo has a Peach Momoko as well. I think this one's worse than the Mirage personally, but I will put it above some of these others. I'm going to actually shift the Ryan Chavez above the Magic. I'm going to put the Jean Grey Pixel too right there. I think this might be one of my favorite pixels. Is that criminal? This makes me want to put Magic down at the top of B tier. I think this is a better pick. Now we've got a Kim Jacinto Ghost Rider. There's a lot of good Ghost Riders, and I don't think this is a great one. I'm going to put it at the bottom of C. And then the Max Greg Deadpool is very good. To me, that fits right in B tier around this Magic and this Jean Grey. Maybe even above the Jean Grey. It's really nice. Maybe even above the Magic. How does this look? One S tier, one F tier. A lot of A's, and then the middle is kind of balanced out. I do think that people are going to fawn over the Mystique and Jean Grey Artgerm variants. One of those is Ultimate, though, and going to make it very hard to acquire that Red Skull. I'm telling you, that's my number one pick because Red Skull has gotten no love. Finally gets some. These are your variants for the month. They'll be coming out across different days, randomly. And hopefully we figure out what's going on with the Ultimates, because Electro and Iron Man are supposed to pop. They have not yet. I hope there's a price drop, and we'll have some Spotlight Cash variants as well. It looks like the first ones are going to be Living Tribunal, Null, and Jean Grey. I didn't include these here because, again, we kind of don't know exactly when, where, how, why. But there should, in theory, be 3 Spotlight variants per week in the Spotlight Caches. So that would be 12 more variants. 15 because this is a 5-week month, but 12 because there's 4 extra cards and they're starting next week. Anyhow, These are the variants. Which one are you most hoping to pull in your shop? Which one do you think is ugly? And which one was I wrong about? Let me know in the comments down below. July is chock full of good cards. I think this is going to be a really awesome month. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Scooper Heroes out.